I think I'm getting sick. I feel like, hello, I'm very close to the camera right now. I'm very aware of that. Hi, I feel like garbage. How are you today? Nice to meet you. This is the weirdest angle to lie at. I'm gonna lying on my belly right now. This is a great angle for a vlog. Good job, Penny. Good job. Professional, as always. Let's rotate this round a little bit so I can at least... There we go. Hi. Hey, guys. Hey. I'm gonna try not be so obnoxiously close to the camera. Hey. I'll look up at you like this with my face like this. So this is a terrible angle to vlog at. Hold on, let me fix this. Holy crap. So this is was gonna be super professional, but now I'm really sick, so I don't care how professional it is. Recap to Brits and Butts. Ow, I hit my foot on my keyboard. Hi keyboard, how you doing back there? Hope you're doing well. So Brits and Butts. I've done recaps of Brits and Butts in the past. They've kind of been sort of basic thank yous and things like that. But this time I wanted to do a bit more of a analytical recap kind of thing. And like Onmas and I, we're the two co-founders, so we always talk about what we thought went well and what we didn't think went well after every Brits and Butts. And we haven't done that yet. So this is kind of my own thoughts right now on the matter before discussing it. This is still a really bad angle, but it's fine, whatever. So I wanted to talk about my overall thoughts so far. So I thought this marathon went so much better than our past marathons. Like, and I say past marathons, the past marathon that we did. So let me explain something to you. Let me get the angle better. Let me sit you here on my lap camera. There you go. Here. That's great. Just get the boob shot in there. I'll sit up because even though I'm not feeling great, it's a better angle for me. So the last Brits and Butts we did, we raised, I think, the least amount of money we'd ever raised. We've been going downhill, surprisingly, in terms of money raised. So the very first BnB we had, we raised, I think, just over 2,000, like maybe 2,100 pounds. And the second one we did, we raised about 1,500, 1,600, I think. I haven't checked any of these numbers, so I don't know if they're right or not. And then the last one we did, we raised about 1,100, and that was our lowest amount by far to date. And even though I personally am in the mindset that, you know, regardless of what we raise, we still raise money for charity, and that's a really great thing, there was a lot of demotivation within the group, I felt. We hadn't really expanded in terms of members. Tara was our newest member that we'd added that time. But we hadn't really there's rowdy people outside my house. We hadn't really expanded or grown or done something new so much that year. We moved location, so there was a whole new kind of house to work out and things like that. Like, we'd moved location basically every marathon. We were in Birmingham this time in Katie's house, and we tried to kind of, you know, we obviously took on feedback from previous marathons where, like, people really like group activities, so let's do more group activities and things like that, and you know, trying to do different games, and we scrapped the whole theme idea that we'd had in the past, because in the past we wanted to do childhood games because we were raising money for a children's hospital, and we wanted to do animal-themed games because we were raising money for an animal charity. And this time, I say this time, referring to the previous marathon, not the one that just went by, that time, we didn't have a theme, we just rolled with it. Which I think was good in a way, because it gave people a lot more openness for the games they wanted to play, but at the same time, I felt like we kind of lost our direction just a little bit in general. Sorry, I'm just adjusting this a tiny bit. I feel like we lost our direction a little bit, and I feel like last time was probably our worst marathon to date. And it's not to say that I had a bad time, it's not to say it wasn't a good marathon, and it's not to say that the amount that we raised, still over £1,000 for charity, wasn't a good amount. In fact, you know, charities that we raise money for, like Four Paws and Bullies Out, which were our previous two marathons, you know, they were like, I didn't even know that streaming for charity was a thing before, and, you know, this is so cool that you guys have done this, I didn't know this is a thing. So we kind of opened their eyes to that kind of thing, and that's great, and I'm really happy about that. But at the same time, it really felt like the group vibe in general was a bit more stressed. It felt like a lot more like a chore and less like fun. There were things like people just wanted to catch up. You know, a lot of the people at Brits and Butts, we don't see each other for like a whole year. So a lot of people just wanted to catch up, and there wasn't really much of a chill room. So it was kind of difficult to catch up without being on stream, and that kind of created some stream disruption in terms of audio, and it was just, you know, it was difficult because it felt like we couldn't chill and hang out like friends, but then we weren't really doing our job and working either because we were kind of chatting too much on stream. And there were some great jokes and things, there were some good memes that came out of it. Kona came from it, you know, I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube and things like that. But the actual marathon, I think we all came away from it feeling not great about it, which is a shame because when you meet up with people you only see, you know, once a year sometimes, you want it to be a really good time, and it just didn't feel like the best time for a lot of people. So I was really, really nervous about this marathon being better. We'd expanded a little bit in terms of members, but that was also because some members couldn't come. It was back at my house again, so we're doing the marathon back at my house, which I'm pretty sure I have the biggest house out of all of us, unless someone's holding out and not offering to host BnB when they could, but I'm pretty sure my house is the best to accommodate so many people. And we were lacking a couple of people. We were lacking Callum, Lit Zippo, who couldn't make it because he was going to be on a boat working, but then he broke his hip falling off a cliff, so he still couldn't make it, but he was at home, so he was able to watch and contribute, which was still awesome. Tyler was going to be able to make it. You is Dead, for those of you who know Tyler, from America. He's our special honorary American in the British Buddish community. He was going to make it, and then he couldn't because there was a work deadline around that time, and he couldn't skive off work. I say skive, take the time off work as like a reasonable adult. Katie, Green Pencil, she was in America until right before Brits and Butts. So if she was going to arrive, she was going to arrive late, but then she ended up getting her plane delayed, so she didn't actually end up coming at all, which I'm really sad about. So we knew we were going to be short a couple of members, compared to previous, well, we were going to have about the same number of members as previous marathons, because the previous marathon, Callum could make it, but Ryan couldn't make it, so they kind of swapped roles, and Tyler still couldn't make it to last marathon. So we'd have about the same number of people, and we thought, yo, it's time to expand. One of the things that we wanted to do, I hope my fan isn't too loud, by the way, I'm sorry about my, my fan. One of the things we wanted to do this time was, we wanted to feel like we were expanding and growing a bit more. We thought that having some new people in the group, because we've invited new people every single year, would be really good for us, especially considering the last marathon when we were a lot more demotivated. And what we were also doing this time is making it so people didn't have to stream. Every single time we've done it in the past, every member has, you know, had their slots and is streamed for a certain number of hours each. But this time, because we know that not everybody in our group is a content creator, like there's actually very few regular content creators within the group. I want to name people, but I'm afraid I'm going to forget about people, and people are going to be upset, but I'll name people anyway. So like, I'm a regular content creator, the Mob Cave guys are regular content creators, Edson, one of our new members, is a content creator, Christy does vlogs on YouTube, so like, they're, you know, Oddmasters, occasional streams, so does Quentin as far as I know, like, you know, people do content in some form or another, and everybody has a kind of social media presence, so everyone's there and happening and ready to go, but not everybody is a streamer necessarily. And so this time what we offered to people was the option to not stream, or to only stream for like, you know, one slot or something. So we had a few people like Ryan and Aratha who just did like 1 3-hour slot, and that was it. And then we had people like me who did our full quota of 2 3-hour slots, so double the amount of time that other people had. And there are some people who didn't do anything, like Zox. He didn't have a streaming slot, and Katie wasn't going to have a streaming slot regardless, but she didn't end up coming anyway. So we wanted to make it, we decided this time, because we were already going downhill in terms of donations, and I think that's partly because we're not very good at keeping up an appearance and a presence in between marathons, which we're really going to try and work on this time. You guys have got to hold us to it. We're going to try and do more regular Brits and Butts streams and things like that. But we're also very delayed with like hyping things. So like the hype video and the announcement date only came out a few weeks before the actual marathon, which is crazy late, and that's partly my fault because I've been so busy, and I've been neglecting BnB a little bit because I've been so busy with life. But for various reasons, we've been going downhill in money, and so my thought was, this has always just been a fun thing for us. This has never been a really big deal where it's like, we always want to be growing, we want to make this a really big thing, like Zeldathon's a big thing, and, you know, every time they they do their marathon, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and, you know, better. I think, you know, from my experience, the quality has just gone up and up and up. And I feel like for us, the quality kind of went a little bit, and that's not the way it should be. And I figured the best way to make good quality streaming is if the streamers themselves are having fun. So that's what we worked on this time. We wanted people to have more fun. So we made sure there was a good separate area between people being able to chat and chill and the actual stream room itself. So people could chat and hang out without feeling like they were disrupting the stream. And what we also wanted to do was make sure that people didn't feel a pressure to stream if they didn't want to. If they didn't feel like they were a content creator, then we didn't want to make them stream, which is why we had the flexibility that we do. So our 2 new members this time were Edson, who all of you guys probably know from my channel, and Christy. So Christy is, or Kookadoodles, as some of you might know, she does stop by some of my streams sometimes. Christy is Odyssey, who's one of the Mob Cave guys' girlfriend. And she was really interested in doing social media this time. She didn't want to stream, although she did do a co-op stream with All, and she was on stream, but she didn't really want to do like a solo game, but she wanted a social media presence, which I thought was great, because we're so bad with social media during marathons. Like, our Twitter's normally a mess, and we normally only like do very infrequent sort of updates and stuff. So she was so on it with Twitter, and she was absolutely fantastic. Edson, well, you know, he's a streamer, regular content creator. He wanted to get involved in things, and we had all the, you know, challenges lined up from already, like the tutu and things like that. So he just got straight stuck in and straight involved, and he was wonderful to have as well, because as I said, we don't have many regular content creators in our group. So Edson brought a really positive, energetic content creating vibe straight to the channel. You know, on-stream presence was great because he's used to streaming, and he had all these games he wanted to play, and he was just great. So both of our new members, I think, were just what we needed, just right. But the new members are just right. They were just what we needed to kind of kickstart a bit more fire in us and to get the stream ball rolling again. So that was a really positive thing, and that combined with people not feeling like they had a pressure to stream. So people like Aratha. I remember Aratha coming to me last marathon, our 3rd marathon, and asking if he could have like a late night slot, and I asked him why, because normally everyone wants all the, you know, the good earlier day slots, and he said, because, you know, a lot of you guys are more streamers and I think you're better on camera, and, you know, I don't think I'm very good at commentating, and I'm not, you know, massively interested in streaming, so just put me at a late slot, it's probably easiest for everyone. And that made me feel awful, because, and no fault of his, it wasn't like, you know, he was making me feel bad, but I felt bad because I was like, we have it as a mandatory thing where we all have to stream, and yet there are people who legitimately aren't content creators or aren't too interested in streaming and just want to kind of do their own thing, and I feel like we're forcing it upon them. So this time I really wanted to get rid of that. And it's great. Like, Arthur is a great example, because this time Arthur had 1 3-hour slot, and he played Moon Hunters, I think the name of the game was, and I managed to actually catch a lot of that slot. I wasn't playing it, but I was watching it off camera, and like, he was in his element, I felt like. It was fantastic because he knew a lot about the game. He was explaining how all these different things affect the different endings, and it was great because it was a group game as well, and because he wasn't as confident with commentating that he expressed to me last year, it meant there were other people around really getting involved, and it was one of my favourite slots that I saw. Like, I had so much fun watching that. It was just a great thing to see, and I know a lot of other people have been looking at some of the questionnaire results. By the way, viewers, if you've watched Brits and Butts and you want to fill out a questionnaire to help us with feedback, please, be very, very appreciated. The link will be down below. But so people were saying it was their favourite slot, and that's just so cool. And so that's a perfect example of, I think, something that really, really worked for us. Our tech was so much better this time in terms of sound. We had proper XLR mics for 90% of the marathon, except when Zox had to go home sick at the end, so we had to use my Blue Yeti instead. But I think our mic, what's the one I'm looking for? Discipline. Our mic discipline was a lot better this time. There was a lot less background noise. We still had some audio balance issues. We still have to work on the tech side more. But things got resolved pretty quickly. Like, if there was something like the game was too loud, then we could resolve that really quickly. And we could balance between having a mic, you know, we had a mic on the sofa, but we also had a mic on Tech Station. Tech Station was a whole separate station this time. Normally it's someone in the corner of the room on a laptop, but this time it was a whole separate station, which was just crazy and great because it meant tech was so much more organized in terms of, okay, now we have to stay on Twitch, we're playing this game, and okay, now it's time to read out our donation. All the donations are on the screen right here, and things like that. So having a tech station was just fantastic. So tech side, I think, really improved. Our layout still needs some changing around. It's always difficult with the layout because the games are all going to be different sizes, and sometimes the game is really detailed and it's more important to have it bigger on the screen than the face cam, but sometimes with face cam the sofa interaction is more important, so we want that to be bigger. So we had several scenes for that, but that's still something I want to work on. But we have people like Edson who've joined us who are graphic designers, so we're going to have a bigger team of graphic designers to help out with that kind of stuff now. What else did we do? We completely, the biggest thing that I think really helped us was revamping how we did what we originally called punishments, but are now challenges and goals. So in the past, we've had a goal that we wanted to reach in Brits and Butts. So first Brits and Butts, it was 2K. Second Brits and Butts, it was 3K. I don't even remember what third Brits and Butts was. It might have been 2K, might have been 2.5K, something that we didn't reach anyway. And we reached the first challenge we had set for ourselves for Brits and Butts, the first goal, but we didn't meet our second two in the last two marathons. And I felt like that was really, really demotivating to members, because, you know, if you're really far away from a goal and you're already over halfway through the marathon, you just think we can't do this, and you just lose the will to live. Not the will to live, but you sort of like, you know, I'm kind of pumping for this, but what's the point? We're not going to reach it anyway. And obviously that's not the right mindset. We should be thinking, no matter what, we're still raising all this money for charity. And my thoughts are, by setting yourself a goal, you're kind of setting yourself, okay, this is how much we can expect to raise, or this is the size of our marathon, so that's how much I guess we'll raise. If you don't put a set goal on it, then who knows how much, you know, like, that's not belittling yourself or bigging yourself up at all. It's just saying, whatever we raise. And instead we did a lot of smaller tier goals, so some of them were like every £50, or some of them were every 100, every 500, things like that. And we still had some set challenges which were set at certain prices, so things like, you know, whipped cream to the face at £30 I think it was, and there was still face painting at 20 or something like that. Changing the game was at 10, so there were still some set ones people could specifically donate for and be like, cool, I'm donating for this, this is now going to happen. But the goals were bigger than the challenges, but also more short term than normal. So things like, you know, Edson wearing a tutu was, you know, at whatever amount, and like me getting a real pie to the face was at a certain amount, and things like that. And I think that massively helped happiness levels and motivation levels on both a participant and on a viewer side. So the viewers weren't thinking, look at that big goal they're trying to reach, they're never going to reach that. Instead they were thinking, look, it's only this much, it's only £20 to the next goal, I can afford to donate £20, it all goes to charity, and then we get to see Star have a pie to her face, or, you know, all of us as well, it was the same thing. We were like, look, we just hit this goal, and we just hit that goal, and we're really close to this goal. It was really motivating for us to continue to be happy and be like, look, we're almost at this and that. And we came up with these new creative ideas for goals and stuff as well. Things like the Rubik's Cube challenge that Fred had to do, we had to solve it faster than the 400-meter Olympic record. Like, that was just a really fun, spontaneous thing that they did. I say they because I wasn't there at the time. I'm sad that I missed it. I was sleeping, very little sleep, so I was catching a couple of hours then. But things like that massively helped us, and we raised more than we'd ever raised before this marathon. And I think that was, a lot of that was due to having this revamped goal system. And it still needs a bit of work, it still needs some tidying, and it still needs to be made clearer to viewers. But that's to be expected because it was a new thing. But I think it worked really well for what we did, and I'm really happy that we made this decision to not have a set goal. Because why set yourself a goal? I think it's so easy to set a goal that's too high, and then it's not motivating for viewers to think, you know, it's not like, oh, we're so close to it, we can push, we can do it. That's what happened in our first marathon, but it didn't happen in the next two because we were just too far from it, and people didn't feel motivated to donate on either side, or push for donations on either side. So I think that worked out, you know, really, really well, and I hope you guys found it a lot more entertaining to watch because there were more regular punishments and things like that. So I think that was one of the biggest things that helped with making this a better marathon. I personally was a lot less stressed as a host than I was 2 marathons ago when it was at mine for the first time. I didn't buy as much food this time, and instead sort of let people sort their own food out, so going to like nearby supermarkets and stuff, and that was great because I didn't feel like, oh my god, do people have enough food? Do they have enough food? I need to ask them if they have enough of everything. And it also meant that people could go out and get fresh air, which is very needed when you're streaming for 72 hours. I let people arrive at my house a little bit early, and some of them left a little bit later as well, and that was great because people got to catch up a bit more and didn't feel like they were missing out on doing that on stream as much, which I thought was great. And there were lots of people hanging around through the night shift. The night shift's some of my favourite bits of the marathon, like so much fun. There's still some kind of shift swap overs that need to work out. We still need to polish. Yeah, let's talk about the negatives now. Those are all the positives. Overall, I am extremely happy. I felt like I got to hang out with everyone as well, and I was so happy. Everybody was giving their all attendee-wise, and I'm so proud of everybody. And I'm especially proud of Edson and Christy, who are our new members, because they gave it their all, and they brought so many nice, new, refreshing things to the table and really supported everyone with what they did. So I'm extremely happy about, you know, them being there, and they're obviously definitely invited back. They're part of the Brits and Butts family now. Things that I didn't like so much. There are some things about tech which are a bit iffy. My internet is nothing that, it was kind of out of our control, but I'm just annoyed at my internet because we got throttled at one point and that created a few nightmares. We had to change out from Rocket League, so I'm not happy about that. Generally, tech-wise and changing scenes and games and stuff, that we had some really long moments in between games where we offline, or at least on our AFK screen, for like sometimes 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and that's just an absurdly long time. If someone has a 3-hour slot, that's a sixth, you know, not a sixth, that's not a sixth of their slot, that's a 12th of their slot gone, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it all adds up, especially if it eats into everybody's slot. Then if that happens at the end of every slot, that's a couple of hours gone from the marathon just waiting for the next game to start. So we really need to polish up our transitions in between games. Layout needs a bit of work. We need to work out a good way to use all of the space that we have. I was generally a lot more pleased with how the information was presented, but we need to work on how our games are presented a little bit more, I think. What else was there? So we got a bit of a backlog with challenges, and that was my fault because I thought we'd have a I think some of them got forgotten or some of them got done really late. That was partly my fault, because I thought we were going to have a big whiteboard in the room, because I have a big whiteboard in my house somewhere, but I didn't know where that whiteboard was. I think my dad was using it for something, and it was just put somewhere else, which means that, you know, I was thinking we could use this whiteboard to write all of the challenges on that we hadn't done yet, so we could easily tick them off and keep track of them. But that just didn't happen, so it was really difficult to keep track of all of the challenges. Sleep for me personally was really bad this time. The shift swap over in between the kind of late night to sort of early morning slot was really kind of rough. I found myself saying to myself I was going to go to bed at like 6 a.m. and then I didn't end up going until 8 or 9 just because not enough people were in the room. So we do need to work on shift swap overs a bit, and I know some other people didn't get enough sleep, or some people got, 8 hours a night, which is like double what I got every night, more than double sometimes. So we need to work on that a little bit. I personally need to eat a bit healthier because I was pretty bad at eating lunch during all of this. And there were still some sound issues in terms of sound balancing. But honestly, those are all really minor points compared to, like, if you'd asked me, pros and cons of, like, last year, then I would have been like, so many cons. This time, almost all of it for me is positive, and we're going to be talking through these problems as a group. Odd and I are going to be going over all of the viewer questionnaires. We've also done attendee questionnaires, which are completely anonymous for everyone, but it's so we can get feedback from everybody, which is great. We might even do a post-BnB podcast, who knows, but we're going to want to be doing more BnB streams, things like tabletop sim and things like that. We played so much Secret Hitler off camera, like, before and after the stream, and we had so much fun with it, so we're definitely going to be doing more of that. If there's any other games or things you want to see us do, so like maybe we could actually have another crack at Trials Fusion, but instead of it being terrible local co-op, it can be multiplayer long-distance co-op, which would be great. So we'll definitely be doing some more Brits and Butts videos and some fun co-op videos and things like that. So keep an eye out for those, and we're going to be tweaking things like having people have specific roles. So there's going to be a set few people who are going to be in charge of graphic design and stream layout. There's going to be a set few people who are in charge of website, a set few people who are in charge of hype and, advertising on Twitter and things like that. There's going to be a set few people who are going to be charity liaisons who talk to charities about it. That was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Special effects, like, I love them so much. I've met a few of their volunteers at previous Insomnia gaming festivals, and we met them because Insomnia 58 happened just after Brits and Butts. We got to meet some of them there, and some of them had watched our stream, and like they were so nice on social media, and at Insomnia they were like, thank you so much for your money raise, it's fantastic, we had such a great time watching. So nice, so incredibly nice. If you're debating what charity should I raise money for, I'm doing a live stream, I want to raise money for a charity. Special effects, like, I put all of my hands and feet up volunteering to, like, volunteer for them. Like, they're great, they're fantastic, and I was very happy with them. Like, charity this time was great, and who knows, we've never done a charity twice, but we might do that for special effects, because they were just completely awesome. And we did get to try, Edson and I tried their chin-controlled Rocket League at Insomnia 58, so I'll probably be uploading a video of that too. In terms of highlights and things like that of Brits and Butts, that's all going to be uploaded to our channel. The whole stream isn't going to be uploaded because that's just too much content to sift through. If there's any particular things you do want to see, then comment down below, but there's going to be highlights, and there's going to be challenges uploaded and things like that. People are going to have access to their shifts, so, like, for example, I'm going to be uploading my playthrough of The Room, because it was just so funny and the voice acting was great. So other people might be uploading their slots as well, so keep an eye out for that. I'm sure there's other things to talk about with Brits and Butts. There's so much to talk about, but those are all the basic things. I hear you, Skype, I hear you booping. Those are all the basic things from me. This is probably a really long video, so apologies for that. But I wanted to go into depth on that because I'm so happy and I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful to all of you guys who donated and shared and things like that. Like, you know, it blows my mind every year how much support we get for this, because a lot of us, we're all small beans channels, and a lot of us don't even do content and don't have an active online viewership. So for you guys to come and watch it, like, just is really great, and it's fantastic. And don't miss Too Spooky for Thon. Too Spooky for Thon is our charity Halloween marathon, which we're in the midst of planning right now, and that's happening at the end of October, so don't miss that if you want some more charity goodness to watch and donate for. And Brits about to be back next year. I'm sure it'll be back next year. It might be at my house again, so another bunch of nerds in my house again. I miss everyone already so much, and I cried a lot. And I'm gonna end the video before I cry again. So thank you guys once again for watching. Thank you so much for all the support with Brits and Butts. Any thoughts of, you know, what you thought about Brits and Butts? Shut up, Skype. Leave it below, and I will reply with love. Thank you guys. See you next time. Bye.